All right, welcome back to episode 9 of the Up and Up podcast. Thanks for tuning in as usual. And today we're just going to jump right in. It's going to be about making new friends or meeting new people. And I kind of chose this topic because I'm in the process of, or the application process of like going back to school for law school. And I was just wondering, what the hell am I going to do to make new friends? Because if I don't, probably gonna be pretty lonely in like such a stressful and also foreign environment.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, Sar, you you and I both we moved to a different city to go to university.
Mhm.
So that was a new environment for both of us. I'm just assuming that we both have some like
Yeah,
stories
teach
about
me your
making new
ways.
friends in
Yeah,
a completely new environment. You wanna go first? Do you wanna
sure. I have a few things about this. One, I know people always say like, "Oh, you make these lifelong friendships in university and stuff," and you know, I didn't experience that, but I see where they're coming from because you kind of all are experiencing the same things in life for kind of the last time,
Mhm.
so it's very easy to connect on these things. Also, you're kind of going through struggles together, be it just a midterm or something, but it's a struggle nonetheless. So struggles bring people closer together. That's pretty sure that's a fact. But I'm pulling that source I came to me in a dream. But it's it is true from my anecdotal experience. Uh, for me, the biggest like push of making friends when I moved was I connected with people that lived on my floor in first year. And then in the second year, I was very like, introverted or recluse during first year, so that didn't help too much. But in the second year, some guy sat beside me and he just like initiated talking to me. And I always put it, he was a gateway friend because in second year, most of the people I met were initially met them when I was hanging out with him. And then I may have connected with them more, so I continued these relationships
Hmm.
without him necessarily being there. Um, so you just need to find someone who is great at making friends or has a lot of friends, and then easy as 1, 2, 3, right?
Yeah. I found for me, I made a lot of friends through my program. I mean, I was in a pretty small program. Um, so it was pretty easy to at least get to know everybody. Or even like when I went on to do my master's, my cohort was, you know, I think there were four of us total. So it's like, okay, you become pretty fast friends or not. Like, and I became friends with all of them pretty quickly, right? It's just like, um, exactly like you have kind of the exact same experience for the most part. And this is definitely like more applicable to in school or in a university setting, right? So, um, because you're going through the exact same things at the exact same times, it's really easy to you know, have those shared experiences and I always like to say it's really easy to make friends at work because the people at work like you're gonna be complaining about the same stuff, you're gonna be like experiencing the same shit, so it's like there's a little bit of the same deal as with school. You're all experiencing the same things, and especially if it's a program where you've chosen to go into, right? Um, Generally, people are going to have a deeper interest in what you're doing in the program, and so that's instantly going to be something that you share and something to talk about. So that's how I made a lot of friends in university.
Yeah. I mean, I think for at least for me, because I was one of the ones who stayed here for
Mhm.
university, it wasn't that I didn't make any friends. I think I made like a fair enough amount of friends in my program, but I don't think it was necessarily too deep of a friendship for some of them. I think at most 3 to 5, I still kind of talk a bit to, or like sometimes. Also, because of other factors of like my high school friends being in my same school, as well as the long ass commute would kind of deter me from spending as much time on campus. Like it was pretty much for me, it was go to school and get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'd argue that having such close and consistent group of friends from like the high school friends, when I came back, I didn't need to, because humans really love to socialize one way or another, but because I had this group of friends or people I knew on campus from ahead of time, I wouldn't, try to find new people to eat lunch with or whatever because there are people I already knew. So, especially coming in, like transferring in later, I feel a lot of people made everybody was new in first year or second year even, and then by the time I came, it was a little bit harder, and I didn't put in that elbow grease when because I was relying on that, and I think that hurts in the long run. Actually, last year I kind of had that goal of making more friends, meeting more people, and I'd say I did a pretty good job of it. I'm pretty happy with the outcome. There's a lot more people, new faces that I hung out with last year and continue to do so these days. I think one of the biggest ones is kind of finding a hobby that I enjoy and sticking with it. And then once you commit to something, you can meet like-minded people so much easier, which you can really do in university. But now it's like, oh, I've been climbing a lot, so I'll see some familiar faces climbing, or I'll climb and then a mutual friend climbs. But then they'll have another friend that I don't know, but now because we go consistently, I'll consider them a acquaintance or a friend, and that's actually happened quite a few times. For example,
Yeah. Again, I feel like it all kind of definitely boils down to similar interests, right? Like how did you make friends at any other time, or like how did you remain friends with people where it's like shared interests? And again, for us, I feel like we have been blessed to have this friend group from high school that we've managed to hold on to for so long. Like I know some people who are not friends with anyone from high school, right? It's like, okay, all their friends are from university, or like maybe they have a few friends from elementary school, from when they were quite young. But definitely don't know anyone who stays as in touch with their high school friends on a regular basis as we do. Um, but that friendship was built on mutual interest, and so meeting new friends is kind of it's in the same vein, right? You meet people, and if you share interests with them, you have things to talk about, you have things to do together, then it's a good way to get to know people. I think for me, one of the ways that I best get to like know people is definitely through talking, and especially talking over a meal. So I like to go out and eat a lot, or have people over and eat, like just eat and talk and just do kind of what why we wanted to start the podcast, right? We were just having chats over dinner like every single week, and so that's kind of how this evolved. So I think that's like one of the biggest things for me. If it's someone who I can tolerate enough to like get through a whole meal and a whole conversation with them, it's like, yeah, that's pretty good. Maybe I'll be friends with this person.
good
Yeah.
thing everyone likes to eat.
I don't know. Some people don't. I know some people who are like not. They like only eat for sustenance. Like if they could, they'd just
They're
drink those
eating, they
like
like it.
nutrient shakes. No,
Okay,
I like
those people are monsters. The
yeah,
nutrient shakes
yeah.
that
The people who just drink like Soylent or whatever,
yeah,
just like get all your nutrients, and like that's disgusting. That's like a joyless life.
yeah.
Apologies to anyone who does that, but you live a joyless life.
I mean, how can you? No, never mind. I'm not gonna flame
I know
putting the potential
we
audience on that.
all like to
Yeah,
be.
I can't wrap my head around that. But okay, so there's my situation, which I technically need to make friends
Mhm.
in order to like socially survive, right, as a person. But what about us right now, right? I remember you, Kyle, you saying that you're okay with the amount of friends you have now
Yeah, I was
and you
gonna
don't
touch
need
on
any
that.
more. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
honestly,
like,
I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty set with the amount of friends I have. I feel like okay, but I do feel like um, I have a few friend groups, and like, but within those groups, I feel like I have enough people to occupy 100% of the time I want to spend with friends.
okay.
Like, at any given point, if I'm feeling social, I will have some person to occupy that need for socialization, right? Socializing. Um, I don't really feel like gaining new friends would benefit me now because it would just mean that I'm always going to be putting someone else on the back burner, kind of.
Sure.
And I don't really want to do that. Like right now, I have a really good setup and like a really good balance where I can, I feel like I hang out with all of my friends enough that I can still maintain really close friendships with them. And so like sure, like I can meet acquaintances and things like that, and like that's that's totally fine. But I don't need really any more close friends because I don't have like any more time to spend on more close friends really.
That's like
Yeah,
an interesting metric that
I've capped.
uh,
Friends list
I
is capped.
haven't like thought of, but I think it is pretty useful in a way of kind of oh I have several friend groups as well, but they don't meet the
Mhm.
if I want to do something, I'll have someone
Yeah.
at like as an option. Some of them might just be too new of friends, so I'm not confident enough to just reach out yet, or some of them are pretty happy just spending the night at home or whatever, so our you know interests don't align in that way.
Yeah.
Um, but that is because I had this talk relatively recently actually, and a friend put it um, like better to have a smaller group of friends and then you kind of have a deeper connection with them versus a larger group of friends.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know if I agree with that take, but what are you guys' kind of opinions on that? Like he's saying that oh, with less friends you can form deeper connections, but
Yeah.
in my experience, you can sure to a limit, but I don't think I'm at that limit, and I I think I interact with more people, but there's still you can have that deeper friendship with a lot of people. It's not limited to
I mean, I
a
think it depends on you and
hmm
your personality and the amount of socializing you like to do and like your social capacity. Let's call it
yeah.
that, right? So I feel like for me, my social capacity is like it's 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 medium. I'm not like someone who needs to go out every single day and hang out with someone every single day. Like I'm perfectly fine having, alone time, quiet time by myself. But I do like hanging out with people. I'd say, a good amount. I'm not like someone who wants to be home all the time, right? And so for me, that's like again, I with the amount of groups of friends I have, I feel comfortable at my social capacity. And also, I mean, okay, I think things also change for me because now I'm also friends with a lot of Grace's friends.
Mhm.
And so that added like essentially like an entire human beings group of friends to my friends list, right? So it's like I almost like doubled my amount of friends very quickly because as she makes friends and introduces those people to me, then we become friends and do things together naturally, right? So it's like honestly, right now I feel like my total amount of friends is just It's enough. I don't feel the need to be making more friends because I don't think that personally I could spend as much time with them as I would want to be good friends with them. Not that I couldn't be good friends with people if I expanded that circle, but I think for me, how I like to, you know, keep my relationships alive and active is definitely there's it requires a certain amount of time. Like I am notoriously like a bad messenger and like texter. I can't do online communication like through text very well. I like need to be talking to someone either on the phone or like through voice call or face to face. If I don't see you like face to face every like few weeks, that friendship is gonna die off. Like I guarantee it. So it's just like for me, that's just how I know I need to maintain my very close friendships because that I don't know. Maybe I'm just an asshole, but I just like I need that face to face. I'm like a goldfish. I like won't.
It's
Yeah,
like the toddlers of the object permanent.
yeah, exactly. As soon as you go the peekaboo, it's gone. Okay, yeah, bye. I'll turn around. Yeah.
I I think um your friend is like technically right, but technically just on like a very superficial sense. Because yes, like if you have a smaller friend group, then obviously you can spend more time with them and forging, a deeper bond. But it also really relies on what you want out of a friendship, um, and what you count as deep, right? You can have a quote unquote deep friendship, but still not particularly know everything about that friend versus if you had like a specific type, like, oh yeah, like, I don't know, I kind of just lost my train of thought, but something more along the lines like, I tell this person this stuff about my life versus I'm telling this other friend like everything about my life, but in very shallow kind of sense, then like those are two different forms of closeness, I would say, right?
Sure, you can have like different connections with different people to like different depth of what you're willing to share with
Yeah.
them. Um, I think it kind of also reminded me. I saw a video by that YouTube channel that I can't pronounce, Crazy Cat or whatever. It was
Crazy
like,
cat.
yeah, Crazy Cat. Where is the friendship paradox is that your friends likely have more friends than you, and that's because one person, kind of like in a social circle, will be friends with more people, and you're going to be friends with that person. So that friend will. It's actually a good video. I don't know, but that friend will. You'll have less friends than them because you're their friend and they're your friend. But they also have that with a few other people where you won't, and that kind of, I guess, in my mind, connected. Like takes me back to the other point we were discussing, where
I'm kind
yeah.
of confused, but
Okay, so there's one point I'm making here is like there's the friendship paradox where your friends most likely have more friends than you do, unless you're the friend with a lot of friends. Um,
Okay.
like
okay,
there's we can link the video later if you want
Sure,
to
sure, sure, sure.
remember, but it is like
Go on.
that's like a fact. So more people kind of feel like they're lower on friends or have less friends than their friends, and I feel, again, your social capacity, how you want to use your friendships is completely up to you. So it's super arbitrary, but uh, so even just opinions on, oh, too much friends or uh, how to how much time you need to spend to form a deeper connections, like, super subjective. But I feel
oh
that
yeah,
uh, the, would you argue that the person with less friends has like deeper connections than the person with more friends? Because
No, I wouldn't say
Arguably,
so.
the other person will have more friends, but they have that deep connection with you, right? So
Yeah,
according to you.
I think it depends on it depends on the individual, right?
Mhm.
Like you said, it's very subjective. It's about how connect with people, and different people have different levels of uh, you know, emotional connectedness and EQ and things like that, right? So I think it really just depends on you. If you like to only have a few friends and you have very deep friendships with those people, sure. If you don't feel like you can handle more, that depends on you. But if you're someone who does have a lot of friends and can keep close friendships with all of them, I feel like that's perfectly possible, but that's just not me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know. I think we all know one person who's like friends with like he's like the nucleus,
Hmm. Yeah.
Um and I feel like he definitely has more friends than I do, but um,
Like
I know that we
doesn't
have a deep
affect.
friendship.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like you have a deep friendship with him, and he'll have a deep friendship with you. So it doesn't
Yeah.
affect your connections or his connection,
Yes,
whether or
exactly.
not one person has more than other.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's about our connection. It's
yeah,
not
you
about
don't need to
their
rank other
connection.
people.
Yeah.
Like, oh nah, like this guy's deeper with this friend than I am with him. Like, all right, doesn't matter. You're still the
Yeah.
same person and friend you were
But
before that, right?
yeah, but kind of
How would
like pulling
yeah,
back to the making friends. I do find, yeah, like I was saying earlier. Oh, I I don't have I still have quite a bit more room, in my opinion, for that social capacity. I
Mhm.
want to do something, and I don't have anyone to do it with. So when I'm looking online, I find right now, especially in like the online tech era, it's a lot. It feels harder, right? I joined the volleyball Facebook group or whatever, like lower mainline volleyball group. So every day someone's probably posting. I check every day. Um, so there's all these opportunities, but at the same time, it feels like it it is a pretty big step to commit to going one of these times. It is like a little nerve wracking. Like I haven't done it yet because of this. I feel
Mhm.
where just going and then I don't know anybody, right? So I kind of gotta start from zero versus if I'm meeting a friend of a friend or something, we already have kind of a baseline, that friend. So those always, like, I really want to play volleyball, but nobody I know plays volleyball, so I need to find the urban rec or one of
Yeah.
these community events, and then I need to put in a lot of work
Uh,
for potentially a good time, potentially just like a mid time.
yeah. But I feel like that is, that's a part of it too, right?
Hmm.
Um Making friends is always going to be kind of hit or miss, especially in like a completely new scenario. Um, I know I've gone sometimes to things and been like, wow, I don't really like a single person here. So,
Yeah.
I think just getting comfortable with knowing that that's a risk you do have to take is like that is just something you kind of got to deal with.
Yeah.
And then also, like you said, it is like way easier to make friends through mutual friends. So I
A
think in
lot.
terms of yeah, in terms of sports though, it's like
Yeah.
I know you've also had a few other like recreational
Bad
sports,
excuse.
yeah, poor experiences. So maybe that's also
Yeah.
coloring like your
It definitely is. But
but
for
like
for those
sorry,
ones, is like, sorry, but it's like for those ones, it's just like I won't join a group of people who don't know each other. I'll join a group of friends because at least they
yeah,
know each other, and then I feel like I can slide in. But if everybody's around you, that poor
yeah,
experience
so
is
like
coloring me person.
yeah, you feel like you're socially adept enough to navigate like joining into an existing group of
Yeah,
friends. Yeah, okay, I think that's fair. That's my experience with with most recreational sports as well. It's like I kind of go. There's an established group, and then get to know each other, and they kind of bring you into the fold
Yeah,
or not. I don't know,
exactly.
but yeah, I do think sports is a great way to meet friends, though. Especially if you're really into it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
That
think
also like brings another issue as like I want to go, but these people are using like letters in volleyball. I was just played. I don't know what level I was. It's like A, B, A, like A plus, A minus. I'm like, I don't know what. I just hit the ball, and then
yeah,
like, am I gonna go to one where I'm not gonna like hold up? Like my performance, I feel will affect
The
the
perception of you.
connection I'll make.
that's true. Yeah, I don't know.
It also depends, like, I guess, how people are going into it, right? Like,
Mhm,
people could just be going to these recreational, like, open things just to play the sport,
mhm,
and like possibly naturally you could, by extension, make friends, or they could be going in with a mindset closer to you, where you would also prefer to make a connection over the sport, right?
yeah,
I don't know. And if you're doing poorly, then I don't know.
Yeah, I think team sports is always kind of interesting because like it also kind of contrasts with what you were saying before about climbing. Like technically, that's like a sport, but because it's so individual, it's like I feel like it's easy to make friends in a different way versus a team sport where it's like a directly social atmosphere, and you're participating as a part of a team. So I don't know. I just think that's like it's a very interesting differing of experiences that you've had with climbing being again like a solo sport versus the other team sports experiences that
mhm,
you've had that were poor. Because like I'm sure like when you go climbing there are established friend groups, but I can't imagine there's like massive groups of like the size of a volleyball team who are all going together, right? Like I can't imagine like a group of 10 friends, like
we did that one.
I don't know,
We were
maybe
9,
Yeah,
but
really,
yeah, yeah. But most of the times,
but
I
like
think it's
regularly.
yeah, regularly
That was
the
like a
same.
one-time thing, right?
Yeah, um, the biggest groups of like 5 people. But like in the Vancouver climbing gym, typically people are alone or in twos. And
Mhm.
even though climbing is kind of quote unquote individualistic, you're climbing the wall, I feel that it's surprisingly everyone kind of feels like part of the same team. When you see someone doing something, climbing something they've been working on a few times, you're rooting for them. Everyone's kind of all on the same team almost. I feel um, you're cheering for them, they're cheering for you.
Mhm.
Uh, so while it does differ, directly working together, it does feel like you're all working on the same team. It's
Yeah,
like not
but
fully individualistic, like I don't know, let's say bowling or something.
yeah, I think what I was more getting at is like we were saying, the performance on a
Mhm.
team sport kind of matters, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, you suck shit, like you're not doing
yeah.
your job, like you let the whole team down, then yeah,
Mhm.
it'll color their like opinion of you. But in like climbing, yes, there's a
Fall off the
camaraderie
wall
there,
12 times, nobody
but
cares.
yeah, exactly. But like your performance is not going to impact anyone else's
Yeah,
performance,
yeah,
so I
that's
feel like it's more forgiving in that sense. You can suck shit all you want. No one will like blame you
it.
for it. Yeah.
yeah, they might even like be more kind towards you, right? I
I
don't
mean,
know.
ideally people are like that in team sports too, but
Ideally, but it's not like that, right?
It's
yeah.
like the competitive
I don't
spirit,
think it'll
right?
ever be like that. It's
Yeah.
like, for example, like you go to a gym, like you're starting out,
Oh yeah.
and you don't know how to do your exercises. Like, maybe some guy ripped out his mind will come by and help you out, right?
I
But
feel like that's a pretty common gym experience, to be
yeah,
honest. Common gym W.
yeah, because it is still a solo thing, right?
Yeah.
Versus if you're playing soccer and you're just bad. Sorry.
Yeah. what do you guys think about making friends online? Is that something that you do or have done?
No, I don't get that honestly.
Ye-
Like
Kind
online
of in
only
this,
friends?
kind of in
No.
the same boat. I haven't really done it. Sometimes I'll queue up with someone play Rocket League. I'll add them as friend, and then I'll hit them up again.
Okay.
That's crazy to me to like follow up on that. It typically it rarely happens. Pe-
Mhm.
People I don't know IRL, if it even gets to the stage where I had such a good time that I'll add them as a friend on whatever platform,
Yeah.
the odds of me playing with them again are near zero. It's if not zero. It's so rare. I
Mhm.
feel maybe our era was a little didn't have that when we were younger, but online friends is just too disconnected in my view.
Yeah. I've never been one to do it either. Even though, okay, but like I think that's such an interesting thing though, because we're all like people who, play a lot of video games. We grew up kind of in a generation where online was again like starting to come up and make its presence known. I think a lot of people in our generation do have like friends who are exclusively online. Like maybe you meet in person like every once in a while, or you've met in person before, like a meetup or whatever. Um, but I've never really been able to make or maintain friendships with anybody online. Usually they die out. Again, I feel like this is a face-to-face thing, like I'm coming back
Mm,
to that. Where it's like, oh yeah, if I don't talk to you face to face or at least through voice every once in a while, I'm not gonna remember to message you or anything like that. Um, and so I've never been one to make or maintain online friendships. I just I can't do it. But I know people who have very, deep friendships with people who are, perhaps they've never met before, but have exclusively talked to online.
mhm.
I I think like without being judgmental of that, that's like it's interesting because it's so different from my experience. Like I just I can't see myself doing that, but like good for you if you can. Um, but yeah, I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on that.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that honestly. Meeting someone online,
Mhm.
it seems like such an easy thing to do, right? With all the access we have, but
Yep.
I feel like from how we're engaging online, at least for me, there's no real opportunity to kind of make a connection. And if there was, I wouldn't put myself in that situation in the first place just because I wouldn't say guarded, but like I don't, I'm not
I'll say
interested. Huh?
guarded.
Guarded. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in like making friends with someone online. Right? If I'm playing a competitive team game online, I'm not gonna be like, yo, you wanna play another one? And then like keep on going. It's like, hey, how are you? Like, what's your name? Blah blah blah. Right? I could not do that.
To be
It makes
fair,
no sense to me.
i- in a bit when I play Rocket League, I always join the voice chat, which got introduced relatively recently. But I start muted for a variety of reasons. Most of the reasons are I'm on speaker and I'm blasting some other sort of audio, so I don't want to torment them. But
Yeah.
if they're chatting, um, especially if it's like everybody in the team is chatting, I've had this. I think it was just last month where both the other dudes were chatting. So, I'm listening to them. So I'm kind of responding with my actions. And then eventually we're like, oh, let's demolish the other team because we have communications and they don't. So we're like, oh, let's run it back. Because Rocket League even has this like nice feature of party up with your current teammates. So we played together. I even joined voice and we played, you know, a few games afterwards. I'll never play with those guys again, but we did run it back for a few. But I was thinking, kind of along the lines, if you're very passionate or very high up into a community, you'll find other people with as much passion for that hobby or interest. So, for example, let's say you're competitive scene for any esport, right? Because you're online that way, you're gonna connect with those other people because they're sharing that hobby with the same level that you do, or so I can see how people make friends that way because it's a big part of their life is shared between you guys. Or I was really thinking when you were describing the situation, kind of MMOs, and you'd see a lot of people. It's like, oh, I played Warcraft with these people for 8 years or something. They all came to my wedding or whatnot, and
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, if you do something with people week in week out or multiple times a week, like World of Warcraft raids and such, then I can see you forming those connections, even though you haven't met. But our our sort of online is like we meet up online, quote unquote, almost instead of you know going using online to meet others.
Yeah. I think on your point about MMOs, for me, even like in that scenario, I can't picture myself becoming good friends with anyone like that because for me that's more just like it's almost like a routine of things where it's like, okay, I do this thing with these people every week, but I don't talk to them outside of that, nor do I really want to. Um, so like I don't know that one I was like,
Right?
I don't
Well,
know
you don't,
for
but in a guild we shared, right? We had a mutual who met up with some people that live relatively close, right? So
yes, and
again,
see,
so
I
kind of
found
like the
I found that
mindset.
very interesting.
Mm,
That was like
mm,
so weird to me, but like weird, not in a bad way. It's
yeah.
different, but good for you. That's how if that's how you make friends again, good for you. Um, I was also thinking kind of outside of games. What do you guys think about making friends in like text-based communities, right? Like some, I don't know, some like subreddits, or
Yeah.
you get really like interesting conversations with a bunch of people and you continue to see their names pop up and then some people become friends through that. I've like scrolled through some threads where it's like, oh hey, what's your name? And then they carry on having like a personal conversation in like
To the
the comments
worldwide.
of the
Uh,
thread. I'm like,
I
what the how do you do that? Like I can't imagine doing that.
I think early university, I had a couple experiences like that where like I would comment something on a post and I'd receive like DMs like, "Hey, like I agree with this too," blah blah blah, and then they invited me to like a Discord server they managed, and I
Yeah.
joined. But after like the first or second day in which I like kind of interacted with everyone there,
Mhm.
it wasn't that they weren't interesting or it wasn't that we didn't share any similar things because we obviously did. I just felt like there was no point in it
Yeah.
because I don't know how to say it. Like there was just no real connection, right?
Yeah. And like if you know you're never gonna see any of those people in real life, I don't know. For me, like I could never imagine a friendship being maintained entirely online too. So it's like for me, if there's no, it's like there's no purpose to it almost because I will never truly get to a point where I can be friends with this person outside of the online space. But then again, I feel like I'm actually fairly disconnected for someone who grew up in this
Yeah.
like online
I
generation.
mean, we know a lot or a couple people that do have many online friends, right? And it's just weird to me how they can maintain it.
Yeah, it feels very different from how I maintain my friendships.
Mhm.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was our first topic for the day. We're gonna hit our break, come back after another.
And
All right, welcome back to the Up and Up podcast. We're back after our break. Now we wanted to talk about personalities, and then also kind of expand that, talk about the Myers-Briggs personality types, things like that. I think by now most people know what that is, so hopefully, if you are listening, you know what we're talking about. If not, it's like a personality test that gives you it outputs like a four letter acronym, which stands for generally your personality in its totality. So just a little background info. But yeah, so guys, have you taken the Myers-Briggs personality test, and or what is your personality type, and what do you think about your type?
Um, I've taken it, but I always forget my results.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm probably the
completely
same way.
forget. You don't know at
No,
all.
I'm I for introverted, and then like some other stuff. It was like all I remember is like the one was like you're curious about stuff, but that's about it.
Mm, okay.
Kind of the same boat where I took it a while ago, several years ago, and don't don't remember what exactly I got. I think I do remember I got an E and not an I, which compared to a lot of my friends is kind of a little surprising because I guess generally how we acted aligned with like an I personality.
Yeah.
So I was a little surprised when that happened, but then especially since then over the years, so initially I was thinking, was I answering this honestly, or was I answering this as I thought I would react in these situations rather than how I would, like how I'd hoped versus how I actually would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which, let's be real, with no repercussions, I can answer however I want. I probably, for some of them, did answer how I would have liked to act versus how I probably would have, especially whenever I did take it a few years ago
Mhm.
or several years ago now. But also, I wouldn't say that it's completely wrong because right, I've definitely moved, I guess, closer towards how I'd want to act in situations. Like I'll most, I'm much better at acting that way versus um, maybe being a lot more shy than like in the past. I used to be a lot more shy than I am now.
Yeah.
But I've also found that I really do enjoy hanging out with people. I
Mm,
feel that because friends that I was hanging out with were predominantly I, then I was kind of making my personality fit that.
yeah.
So I was staying inside more, I was playing a lot more video games because that's what my friends did.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the moment, I have people I can go climbing with nearly every day, I go climbing a whole lot more now.
Yeah.
I feel like the moment I find people that are willing to do things spontaneously at later hours of the day, I'll be doing that a whole lot more than I am now. It's um, so I feel that in the past I was really fitting or trying to fit with my friends, and now I'm trying to find friends that fit with me.
Mm,
Um, yeah, that's kind of what little reflection has told me or has felt.
yeah. That's that's interesting. I think it speaks to the nature also of the test, like, um, and how honestly, like when you're asked these questions, it's always kind of like, oh, yeah, like you're supposed to be like, yeah, answer them truthfully, honestly, like just how you would normally like react
Mm.
in those situations. But it's like it's almost impossible to do that objectively once you know what this test is testing. I feel like for a lot of people, it becomes more descriptive than prescriptive, which is like a funny thing because it's supposed to be a test that is like analyzing you, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I think um, well, I guess for me, I did the test one time for a class actually in
Mm.
university. So we did a class on
And you failed.
creativity. Sorry,
And you failed the test.
yeah. Um, it's called creativity and madness, and so we did these personality tests to like see how that applies to your creative personality and things like that. I was like, okay, it was interesting to take it and try and relate those things, but it did feel a little bit like a stretch. So I got INTJ, um, which is apparently fairly rare. Um, and I think that in itself also doesn't mean much to me because I feel like everyone's personality is fairly unique. Like
Mm.
I don't have the same personality as anyone else I know, but nor do any two people that I know have the same personality, even though you may have the same personality type. Right. So it's
Mhm.
like I think there's a little bit of pseudoscientific analysis going on there where it's like, oh yeah, you are like one of 100 million people who have this type. Like that's like insane, but I don't know. That doesn't really speak very much truth to me. Um, but at the same time, it is interesting to see kind of how your supposedly honest answers determine this profile that they make for you. And I think what was more interesting was like we actually did like the actual one because the university like pays for
Okay,
us to
right.
have a subscription to the actual thing. So they give you like a whole like analysis of your answers. And so that was what was more interesting for me than the actual letters. Unfortunately, this was now like 6 years ago, so I have zero recollection of what it actually fucking said. But that would have been really cool to talk about now. um, but yeah, just I think what was more salient was it was talking about how you may interact with certain situations or things that uh, are a little bit more interesting than just saying, "Oh, you are introverted versus extroverted." It's like okay, and then it also gave you a breakdown of like how far from one side to the other are you, because
Yeah.
each one is a spectrum. It's not oh you are one or the other. It's like so. I think that that was also kind of interesting. But
Yeah, I just speed ran mine right now.
yeah, would
I got
like
a INTP.
INTP.
Yeah, which
Okay.
is logician or whatever
Yeah.
you pronounce that. Yeah, I don't know. Like, doesn't tell me what I don't know. I I know I'm introverted, but
Mhm.
like you said, the scale it says 79% introverted, 21% extroverted, which is fine. I have bouts of being extroverted, but at the end of the day, I do prefer being by myself, right? Like I I don't need a test to tell me that.
Yeah. What do you think? Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say that sure that there's kind of like famous tests of the Myers-Briggs, but I do remember that quite a few job interviews I had, they asked me, not exactly, you know, if I'm introverted or extroverted types of questions, but how I would react and kind of a similar style of test to see kind of what personality I am.
Hmm.
And I don't know, I guess if a job's doing it, they do have a ranking of what kind of personality they want. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, just it kind of explained, oh, you do well in these situations because you think or act like to that.
Mhm. Interesting. I've never been asked that for
Mm.
a job interview, but then again, I haven't gone to a job interview in a few years, so um, maybe that's something that people are doing in your field as well. Do you feel like that was common to your field?
Um, I guess as in my field as a whole, no, but for kind of a subset or very entry level positions where they just need people with, you know, they'll teach you things later, then I guess you just want to make sure that the person you're dealing with is a person, not just a robot.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've definitely seen a couple, like from my own personal experience, and
Mhm.
also a lot of
Hmm.
my friends have kind of complained about this new trend in which companies are looking for individuals that fit the team
Mm.
Yeah.
and less on
The
like
culture.
qualifications, right? So it's kind of odd, but I could see where the company is coming from.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Before I was gonna ask, what do you guys think about the whole like people are defining introverted versus extroverted wrong, or like the understanding that it's like oh about how you gain energy and like shit like that.
Can you expand on that? Like, what do you mean?
So a lot of people, I think, like when they hear the words introvert, extrovert, or at least in the past,
Mhm.
it was thought of as like, oh, do you like to be social or you don't like to be social? Like
Okay.
you are antisocial
Right.
type of thing, right? Like if you're an introvert, you don't want to talk to anyone like anytime. You just want to like be by yourself, like be a mushroom in a cave type of deal. Like
Hermit.
yeah, exactly. Whereas I think this was like the mid to late 2000s, like maybe 2009 to like 2013, a lot of
Okay.
people started to like more think of being introverted or extroverted, especially in online spaces, as being someone who is able to recharge their batteries essentially by being in social situations versus being like alone. And so it's not that you dislike social situations, it's just that you feel energized by being by yourself, and then you expend your energy in social situations versus you gain energy being in social situations and you expend that energy when you're doing things by yourself. And so this was like a big thing to like, I don't know, move away from a lot of the connotations that being an introvert had, which was like, okay, yeah, you're just like a fucking loser, like don't talk to anybody, you're just like you're like worthless, like completely antisocial, things like that, right?
Yeah.
um and so I think that that's like that is kind of interesting, um, because like I even saw this in terms of um, like you said, jobs, right? I didn't see it so much with jobs, but I saw it a lot with things like I don't know, student council, and student government or like leadership teams at university and things like that, right? Where people generally want you to be very much someone who is adept in social situations. Um, but I feel like even an introvert could be adept at social situations. It's just
Hmm.
whether that is something that you want to be doing all the time, or if you can do that and then you also want to be taking time outside of that to recharge to do that some more. I don't know.
No, I definitely subscribe to that like social battery kind of mindset because I I can see it and
Mhm.
I live it. Um, but as to how like introverts can be good in social situations, uh, not like this is totally anecdotal, right? This is just my own experience,
Yeah.
and not to my own horn, but I feel like I have a pretty good read on social situations and like people in general, but I just couldn't give less of a shit. Like
Yeah.
if I don't know you, if I don't care to, I don't need to be in the situation, right? But if I was forced to, and you put a gun to my head, like you're gonna go out there and you're gonna go talk to X amount of people and you're gonna make at least 2 friends today,
Yeah.
I'll go do it, right?
Mhm.
Wait, Kyle, do you agree with that kind of take on introvert extrovert with that for you?
I I would tend to agree with that idea, because for me, I know that once I have done a lot of socializing, I feel exhausted to the point where I need to spend some time alone,
Mm.
and just like completely disconnect and
Do you
just
guys
like
sorry.
listen
Yeah,
to music and like sit on my own for a bit
Do you guys ever have it the other way?
where I
where
need to
I'm tired
socialize.
Yeah.
tired of being
Yeah, for
alone.
sure.
Like
Yes,
mhm.
but it's more. I feel as if when I'm with people, I am expending energy
Hmm.
Mm.
versus when I'm at home, I'm never really expending like energy being by myself. Like that's not exhausting to me. I have cravings for hanging out with people and like I enjoy hanging out with people, but it's definitely like far more draining for me to be out in social situations than it is for me to be by myself.
Yeah, like the timeline or like the requirement to do the other thing
Yeah.
is a lot different for one or the other, right? If I were to hang out with you guys or my friends, uh, 4 days in a row, for sure, right? That'll come but really fast. Like fifth day, maybe like, yeah, no, I don't want to come out, or like sixth day. Versus if I was just at home chilling, I'd say perhaps give me like 2 weeks. I'll be like, hey, you want to go for lunch or something, right?
Mm.
But I think at least in our situation, it's also different because we
Mm.
technically have an option of socializing every single day, right?
Yeah.
And if you just look at it, right, every night, most likely by 10 p.m., we'll have someone to talk to if we
I,
wanted to.
I feel like it's not the same though, right? Like kind of back to Kyle's like face to face
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
not the
activity.
same, but at least for me, I do feel when there are a lot of people in the voice chat, I sometimes don't want to be there because
Mm,
it is still draining, right?
Mm.
Nothing against like you guys, right? But just personal.
maybe a little. No.
Okay, yeah, especially you, Sar. Honestly, whenever you're playing Rocket League and just blasting music, bro, dude, nah, I can't.
Do you guys hear it? No way.
Yes.
Anyway,
Always, every time.
then tell me,
Sorry,
then you
if you think we can't hear it, we can. It's like how
I'm th-
another
I'm
a
thinking
friend
it
does
clearly
some
doesn't
bodily
bother you because
discharges
you're
and
not
thinks we
telling me
can't hear
to
it.
fuck off.
Hmm?
But I'm thinking it clearly doesn't bother you because you're not
It
telling me
it
to.
It doesn't
If it
bother
it
us,
bothers
doesn't
like
but
bother us.
it's not
what?
something that bothers us,
Yeah.
but it's just something we're making you aware of. Same like
Yeah.
our other friend again, who uh, performs bodily functions constantly, and everyone hears it, and he's always like,
Yeah,
"I'm
but
so sorry,"
he's let known to his face.
and he still thinks that we can't hear them.
Yeah.
But anywho, uh, I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I kind of experienced this battery uh metaphor or
Yeah,
experience personally. I'm not, sitting here right now losing battery or, when I'm not talking to people or
yeah.
vice versa. But I do remember we had like that really bad snow week in December and I was losing my mind. I was with my parents, so I wasn't even alone. But it was just like one of the days I was like, somebody was like, "Oh, you want to go climbing today?" I was like, "Yes." I was like to my parents, like, "I need a ride here." Like I'll see you guys in like 2 days because my car was still there. But I'm like, I need to like get out of the house. I was in home for like 3 or 4. It was even more than that. It was like 4 or 5 consecutive days. I was even going for like walks and such to like break it up, but I was
Yeah.
feeling caged.
Well, so that's probably a good indication that you are indeed extroverted, or at
I,
least you.
I still remember how much I was losing my mind, but that
Yeah,
was it definitely helped break up kind of all that tension as you do.
yeah. But again, I feel like it's interesting to name yourself as one or the other, but I
Hmm.
do like the theory of the social batteries. Like, I think it's an interesting one where I definitely feel like for some people, myself included, it drains definitely a lot quicker when I'm out and about with people, and even not just like out hanging out with people, but like if I'm in a crowded space, like I feel like that really drains my social battery.
Oh,
Like
okay.
Costco, that place
Interesting.
is like the most exhausting grocery trip every time. Like
Guilty.
in the regular grocery store, it's like okay, it's not that bad. I get my groceries, come home like I'm not feeling that tired. Every time without fail, I go to Costco. I come home like, God damn, I'm so tired from going to
That,
Costco.
I
that's
think
actually
okay, sorry.
no, no,
Costco,
good.
you
Yeah.
also don't move at your own pace.
I
You
kind of
can't.
do. I just kind of push through people.
All right,
That's
fine.
crazy to me because like I'm dying alone. I'm like getting all down and sad and stuff, and then I'll go grocery shopping and I immediately feel better. Like
Well,
I'm
there
like,
you
damn,
go. See, I
yeah,
feel like the theory is in practice right here.
okay. But I didn't want to say where. Oh no, okay. Two things. The first one is like, yeah, after I'm like, I don't do anything, don't talk to anyone for like a day or something. I'm like feeling all sad and stuff, and then I'll do something with anyone, play badminton on Monday because I didn't do anything on Sunday. And then I'm like, damn, why is it so simple to like feel so good, but then like I need somebody else for it, right?
Doctors hate them.
Yeah. It's just
Feel
like,
good
oh
in
my god,
one
every time I
simple
like come
step.
back from doing something, I'm like, wow, that was like so much fun.
Yeah.
Now I gotta go home alone. So maybe a roommate will spice things up. But
Yeah.
um I wanna say, we were initially talking how, this test is pseudoscience, but Josh
Mhm.
did put it pretty well where, oh, it's not telling you anything you don't know, especially, as
Mhm.
no longer even young adults, we're just adults now.
Don't say it.
Uh, Sorry to have to
Don't
hear
say
from
it.
me, but you kind of know a few things about yourself at least,
I
and
would hope
so
someone would,
yeah,
right?
so it's
Yeah.
more like a confirmation
Yeah,
versus, you're using this to, the people who put in their bios and stuff. I'm just like,
that's
come
cringe.
on now, not
If you put
hating.
in your bio and you're listening to this, sorry, you're
Yeah,
cringe.
I'm not hating. I'm just
I am.
just saying.
No, but it's like it's like horoscopes, bro. I can't, dude.
That's totally
Yeah.
someone who's, I don't know, a Cancer would say. I don't know. What are we?
Well, you and I are Scorpios.
Oh, there you go. That's what I meant.
No,
I'm an
but
Aquarius.
yeah, I just feel like you shouldn't let a personality trait define you, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
there's just spectrums to that.
Yeah.
And if that is your main personality trait, maybe you don't have much of a personality to begin with. Sorry.
The man spitting facts out here, just dumping on people.
Sorry. I'm just saying, you know?
I think people who make it a big part of their personality perhaps have things to figure out about where their priorities or where their own value, self value may lie. Perhaps. I'm not here to get psychological on people.
Um,
I've never taken a psychology course in my life. Did either of you ever
Really?
take psych?
Yeah, I took
Was it a
one.
attended
required
like
course?
one or two
Yeah.
lectures.
But was it a required course for you, Star?
No, I only like was checking out as an elective, and I was like,
Oh.
not vibing.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I feel like that's one of the most common classes that people always take. I know it was like always the hugest lecture. Psych 100 was like a
Mhm.
1,000-person friggin' lecture. That's ridiculous.
I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of a hater. If someone starts talking me astrology, you know, I feel like you're saying maybe there's some inner workings to be had.
Yeah, you just start shitting on them just openly.
No,
Bro,
I'm
we
nice
can't
of
be
them to their
friends. We
face,
can't be friends. I'm a
but
Pisces.
I'm
Bruh.
immediately judging.
You're right. We can't be friends.
That's a
Yeah.
red flag.
It's like next you tell me, oh yeah, I'm year of the rat or whatever. I'm like,
Hey, yo, hey.
That's cultural.
Yeah, bro,
oh,
that's insensitive. I'm just saying, we're rats, bro.
I'm
right.
not.
Yeah, I know you're not.
I
A
was born
monkey.
before. No, I'm a pig.
A
I was
pig.
Oh,
born
right.
before the new
Okay.
year.
Sorry. That's
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah. I think a lot of the teachers in elementary school were really confused about that because, like, obviously none of them were Chinese.
Mhm.
Like we had all white teachers growing up, right? Like
Yeah.
that was
I
just
had
a
a
thing
Chinese teacher.
in elementary school.
Yeah, I think
Wow,
her last name was On.
damn, the reverse. You, a white person that had a Chinese
I
teacher.
had like
Us, the Chinese kids, had
nearly
all white
every
teachers.
breed, I'd say.
New.
Every single teacher in my elementary school, like that taught me, was a white person.
They were predominantly white. Don't get me. There
Yeah,
were there were different types of white.
I had one Jap. No, I actually had two. Now
in
that I think of it,
elementary school.
yeah.
Damn, what the fuck?
Yeah, I do.
No, I was taught by exclusively white people in
Mm.
elementary. Yeah, but anyways, we always, as kids, again, going back to our holidays thing, like because we lived in a city that was majority Chinese. Like, it's like 30 Chinese kids in the class, like one white teacher. They're like, oh yeah, let's do like Chinese New Year stuff, like, and they were always like, oh yeah, it's like you are born in this year, so you are this one. And every time we're like, but I'm not. I'm like the one before. They're like, no. You don't know anything, you Chinese kid. You don't know anything about your culture. I'm the teacher here. and you were born in this year. Therefore, I was like,
Stupid
what
kid,
the
read properly. It says
what the
96.
fuck? Yeah, that's kind of whack.
All right.
The
That's
deep
so
tangent.
funny. Oh my
Yeah,
god.
but it happened like multiple times. I had to be like, no, I was born before the new year occurred. We run on a different calendar, non-Gregorian.
Who's
Yeah,
this Gregor guy anyway?
true.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, I feel like on
Yeah.
that note, we're about coming up to time, maybe a little bit shorter, but
No, we're good. We're
okay.
chilling. Yeah. But yeah.
Great.
Thanks for listening, and as always, we'll catch you next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.